We believe that our school system would be best served by having an extended day program as well as having a negotiated contract in place. An extended day with a variety of directed activities, including academics, would meet the needs of our students. The student school day ought to match the parent work day. On that, there's no disagreement. Our highly trained professionals already put in an extended school day. They correct papers, they plan lessons, they call parents, and they attend work professional development. They do so routinely and without calling attention to it. For these activities, there is no time clock. But our teachers, too, have lives of their own. When we ask our teachers to work even longer, we have an obligation to compensate them, as we do when we ask lawyers to pick up another case, dentists to see another patient, or nurses to work another shift. The district has funds to pay for a lot of things. Last year, the district spent more than 10% of its budget, a total of $84 million, on 257 unadvertised contracts of $10,000 or more. Assuredly, there is $11 million to pay for a much-needed extended day program. I am proud to turn this press conference over to 4 individuals and later to Randi Weingarten, who needs little introduction as one of the nation's great thinkers on educational reform and what truly works in our classrooms. First, let me introduce 4 teachers whose commitment to our children and our schools is outstanding. They will talk about the extended day, about their already extended work day, and why the district should resolve this matter promptly so that we can all move forward. Thank you very much.
My name is LAURALEE Johnson, and I'm an occupational therapist working with children with special needs in the Boston Public Schools. The topic of today's conversation with Carol Johnson and Randi Weingarten is about the value of the extended school day. The teachers, occupational therapists, speech therapists, school psychologists, and others who work with students in the Boston Public Schools watch with some bemusement because we already know that any hour of any day is already part of an extended school day for us. Our extended school day is at 6 a.m. emailing a parent and 9 p.m. grading papers. It's at 3 a.m. tossing and turning, worrying about a student. It's on Sunday evening, putting those finishing touches on lesson plans while the rest of the family watches the Patriots. Or it's extra hours before or after school to be on the instructional leadership team, academic achievement frameworks team, or school site council. How much more extended can an extended school day be? But what is missing in this extended school day is the student, and the teacher misses the student. As full as our days are, we would gladly have an extra half hour with our students. As an itinerant teacher, some of my days include time spent in the car traveling from school to school. And as a provider who works with students with special needs, they're so diverse that the planning time is enormous. An extra half hour to spend with students would be a blessing. A half an hour more spent with a student is priceless, but this doesn't mean it should come without a price. To expect it devalues not only the teacher, but those who are taught. By not paying an educator for their times means that the educator must pay themselves. Is this a better way to educate children, or simply a cheaper way? An additional half an hour per day wouldn't only give me more time working with students, but more time consulting and brainstorming with teachers. This type of collaboration allows my treatment to continue even if I'm not physically present in the classroom. Paying for an extra half hour of this type of service will yield benefits throughout every school day and will reach each child's needs even more deeply. The BPS would also like to require us to pay ourselves for an additional 100 hours of professional development. As an OT, I've spent many hours sitting through math professional development, literacy professional development, science professional development, and it's all very interesting topics, but they do not expand my knowledge in my specialty. In order to receive the valuable discipline-specific professional development specialists need in order to best work with our students, we're forced to find outside courses, attend them on our own time, and pay the fees, averaging $200 for a one-day course out of our own pockets. With all due respect, Boston, I think you owe us on this one. So, why do we stay in the BPS? When I'm being told that my time is of so little value that it should be had for free, then I honestly don't always know. But this is what I do know. I choose to work in the Boston Public Schools because I believe in the value of my kids. I believe in the dedication of my fellow teaching professionals. I believe in the work that we do. I believe that each child and every child in the city of Boston deserves as much as any other. And I believe their education is worth paying for. Thank you.
Good afternoon. My name is Seth Peterson, and this is my school bag. It's full of papers and tests to be graded. I call it the bag of guilt because I feel like it should always be open wherever I am and among whatever groups. My wife calls this the other woman. For all those who believe a Boston teacher's hours are short, I invite you to follow me or any of my colleagues any day of the week. Get up at 5 a.m., teach 5 classes, attend meetings, stay after school to help, to tutor, to give makeup work and quizzes, plan and prepare the room for tomorrow's lessons, and get home 10, sometimes 12 hours after you left the house. For me, that's just in time to give my baby daughter one meal, put her to bed, and then return to 2 or 3 hours of responding to student writing till midnight, sometimes 1 in the morning. Those are the supposedly short hours of teachers' work days. If you don't have time with your busy day to follow me or shadow me, just come hold the other woman for a little while. Appreciate her girth and the hours of unpaid, unacknowledged labor she represents. I love my job and I love my students. I'm not here to complain or even to refuse to work a longer day, but I won't stand the indignity of hearing I don't work hard or long enough. Nor will I stand here and accept the ridiculous proposal that teachers in Boston are so well paid that they should work additional hours without compensation. The superintendent herself is very well compensated. She is the city's highest paid employee. If the numbers on the city payroll are right, she makes $323,000 a year. That's 4 times what I make. I don't really begrudge her that money. Instead, I ask, why is the city willing to pay such a high price tag? I believe the answer is because they want to draw excellence. But how will Boston recruit, let alone retain, excellent teachers if we don't pay them for their work? At a bare minimum, teachers must be treated as professionals and paid for their labor. This current proposal to add hours without compensation is an insult to the dignity of all workers and a further attack on the profession of teaching. If a volunteer force is really the answer for Boston schools, then it should start from the top. If we should all be in it just for the better good alone, then let this superintendent trade in her $322,000 for a starting teacher's salary. Better yet, when her term is done, let the mayor and the school committee advertise for the next superintendent simply by hanging a shingle outside of Court Street that reads, "Wanted, superintendent, must love children and be willing to work for free." If we really do love our children, we will pay our teachers so we can continue to recruit excellent ones. Furthermore, the students of Boston need more than excellent teachers. They need a rich, stimulating array of courses to keep them energized about learning and staying in school. There is no point in expanding the day if you continue to narrow the curriculum. I work in a school with no music program whatsoever, a school that just cut art from the budget and lives of students, a school where students will graduate without ever having selected a single course for themselves. There is no place for my students to carve out their own niche within the broader academy. This is an intellectually impoverished model of learning, and extending the day alone will do nothing to change that. If the day is longer, it should be to provide my students with more opportunities. Will we hire back the art teachers, the music teachers? Will we add philosophy, poetry, photography, and criminal justice courses as students have requested? That would actually expand students' learning, not simply extend the minutes they sit in classrooms that are already underfunded. If we love our children, if we really intend to focus on them, we will ask ourselves what an extended school day should add. The answer is clear. We should look at the districts that are already succeeding and providing for their students. More student choice and more arts in the curriculum are part of that answer. Thank you.
Hi, my name is ONDREA Johnston, and I'm a 7th grade math teacher at the Edwards Middle School, where we already have the extended day in place. So I can pretty much give you an idea of what the extended day looks like at our school. Just to kind of piggyback off of what Seth said about how you use the time, that is a very important piece of our school. We actually spend our Fridays from about 11:40 to about 1:40, or sometimes beyond that, planning as teachers how we want our extended day to look. As of right now, currently we have 1 hour of academic leads, And then academic league is pretty much just an extra enrichment course, whether it's in math, in ELA, or in science, depending on the grade level for our students. Sixth graders have all math during that 1 hour. They get extra, it's pretty much like an MCAS prep course, and so they get extra support in math. Seventh graders get extra support in math and ELA during that hour. And eighth graders get extra support in math, ELA, and science, depending on, again, we look at data, so we look at the MCAS scores to see exactly where each kid should be placed. In addition to that, we have an extra 2 hours in our school day after the academic leagues, which is the first hour, where our kids are pretty much participating in different kinds of elective classes. And this is kind of what Seth was talking about again with the arts programs. And so it's not just all academic based. We actually have that 1 hour of academics, and then afterwards we have a 2 hour period of about electives, where kids can kind of make a choice and explore exactly what they want to do during that 2 hour period. Some examples of electives that we have are performing arts, where we have a dance team at our school, well, not a dance team, but a dance elective. We have a step team at our school, which is very popular around the city of Boston and also at our school. And we also have a musical theater program, which is very popular among the students. And a lot of them love musical theater, and they actually go on into another school, the Boston Arts Academy, as a result of participating in our musical theater program. We offer many sports as well during that 2 hour period. We have football, soccer, track, basketball, softball, cheerleading. So again, an array of sports that the kids can participate in if they choose to. We also language classes where some kids are learning Spanish, some kids are learning Chinese. And then we also have an extra academic piece in there for the kids that need that extra support or kids that just want the extra support. And again, the kids have their choice of where they want to go during that elective time period. Like I mentioned before, that extended day time period, it takes a lot of planning. And we actually sat down as a school before we started our extended day, and we decided as a team of teachers that we wanted to incorporate the extended day at our school. We had a really good principal that year, Mike Saban, that actually believed in teachers teaming together and also teacher leadership. And so he kind of just sat all the teachers down and said, are you sure you all want to do this? Because it's going to be a big step for you all. And so then we all actually decided, yes, we want to do it, and we decided this is what we want it to look like. And so the BTU had a huge part to play in that with our building representatives at that time. Teacher collaboration is huge, is needed. That's how you basically get your teachers invested in working the extended day. And then plus, the choice is kind of needed too, because otherwise you're going to have teachers that might not be able to stay at the school or have to go somewhere else. Thank you.
Good afternoon. My name is Erica Guandolini Ford, and I'm a teacher at Boston Latin Academy. I respect the need for an extended school day in the Boston Public Schools and realize what benefits our students would receive by having an extra hour in front of our teachers. Our students need to be competitive with many domestic and foreign students who presently have a longer school day and a longer school year. Our students are already some of the best in the state. Having an extra hour each day would allow our students to be even more competitive with other individuals, both in Boston and Massachusetts. More time on teaching would allow me personally to offer more differentiated instruction, and as a language teacher, more oral, and written exercises each period. We already offer at Boston Latin Academy a myriad of electives and specialized courses, but having an extended day would also allow us to expand these offerings. My husband and I both teach at the same school, and Boston Latin Academy begins at 7:10 a.m., forcing me to have a 6:30 a.m. drop-off at daycare. There are only a few places that will accept a child that early. Subsequently, I must pick up my son by 3 p.m. every day. If I am late, I must pay $30 for the full hour, regardless if I pick up at 3:01 or 3:59. By having an extended school day, I would be forced to pay up to $600 per month, and months with professional development, up to $700. Over the school year, this would total $6,000 to $7,000 in addition to my regular daycare costs, which represents a significant pay cut. To some, this may not seem like a lot of money, but for me, it's either a third of my mortgage each month or my gas, electric, water, cable, internet, and cell phone bill. This is a great impact on our purse strings, especially with inflation looming around the corner and stalled contract negotiations. If I were compensated for my time, I may be able to break even before taxes. I'm not saying that our children would not benefit from an extended school day. The amount of curriculum I would be able to cover in that extra time would be fabulous. Our students could be even more competitive with other students in the state and in the country to gain access to great universities. I do believe we need an extended school day. I think everyone would benefit from this. All I'm asking is that we be adequately compensated for our time. Thank you.
This morning, I was at a conference about 500 yards from here, right? And the superintendent of this school system, in front of this whole conference of, I don't know, 300, 400, 500 people from around the country, on extended time, used her remarks to criticize the union and the very same teachers you just heard. And as I was listening to these incredible teachers, who are the face of Boston, this is the face of the teachers who make a difference every single day in Boston, I was thinking, maybe she would have made a more efficacious use of her time if she actually spent the time listening to teachers rather than trashing them. And that's what's wrong with this debate. As Richard Stutman said, unequivocally, clearly, as the other teachers here said, we all believe that if we had extended time used in the right way, it would be a really good thing for kids and a good thing for teachers in terms of working with each other, improving instruction. There's no debate about that. There is one debate, LAURALEE. It's not watching the Patriots. For me, it would be watching the Giants if I wasn't doing my schoolwork. It's not an issue, at least if you listen to any teacher or any person who is a member of a family of a teacher talking about what they do all the time. I do love the other woman in the bag, though. It did remind me of my own teaching experience when I basically used every single Sunday for schoolwork till 4 in the morning, following my mother's practice of always having our dining room table festooned with papers. This is the life of a teacher. Teachers spend a lot of time doing work outside of school. Teachers want additional time for kids so we can level the playing field and ensure that kids are getting the kind of rich curriculum that these teachers so eloquently talked about. But the bottom line here in Boston is that rather than the superintendent actually engaging in a problem-solving process to make this work, she'd rather go out in a public forum and trash the amazing teachers that she has in this district. And that's why I am so disappointed about today. Today should be a day that's about how do we end this contract dispute? How do we figure out how to efficaciously use extended time in Boston? How do we problem solve and find the money for what supposedly is a very important program when money is always found for other very important programs? That's what we should be doing on a day when the national president and the superintendent of schools are both speaking at a national conference, not having a press conference where we have to actually answer terrible, facetious, sarcastic allegations by a superintendent who needs to actually just listen to the amazing teachers in this district.